Alright, today we're having another fun adventure. We're installing a 125 milliliter oil cooler in a Hawk 250. So, unless you can read that, these are probably not going to be much good to you. There are some pictures though. You're going to have the oil cooler. This is in pretty rough shape when I got it. There are some dings. Let's see here. There are 4 bolts, 4 washers, 4 nuts, a tightening tool. This is the 34 millimeter adapter that goes in where the oil filter goes, the screen. And got some writing on it. I believe it goes up and down. This is the filter that goes in line with these two. This is the way the filter went in, like that, and the cap goes on there. I'll give you a couple of these extra washers. I'm not sure. I'm just gonna wing this. So I just warmed my bike up for 5 minutes, and now I'm gonna drain the oil. To do that, you're gonna need a very large socket. If you haven't done it before, it's 24 millimeter. The size of these bolts, roughly 3/4, and these are 10 millimeter. So I'm going to try to attempt to install this on my frame. Since my fender has been dropped, it should create more airflow, and it won't get in the way while I'm turning. I'll probably have to relocate the horn, or at least flip it backwards. Alright, let's get to it. Okay, you're going to want to remember to bring gloves for this little project. This is how it came out, just like that, so it is under pressure. Make sure when you drain it that you do not lose your cap, spring, or filter. This is a seal, and there it goes. This is about how dirty the oil is after 500 miles. Hopefully we're going to improve this. We're going from 1 quart of 1040 Valvoline motorcycle oil to 1.5 quarts. Almost forgot to mention on this side of the motor, here's the dipstick. So by pulling that out, you're going to let the engine vent a little bit easier. Might drain better. And definitely warm it up first. Okay, while the engine is dripping, we're going to use brake cleaner. We're going to spray out all these lines, filter, adapter, and the oil cooler. Little metal aluminum shavings like that one right there are all inside this. You don't want that in your engine. Alright. Okay, I sprayed this out. I just held it up like this. Put the spray nozzle in that end. Shot out this end. I did it a couple times. Removed the O-ring on this, sprayed this off, sprayed that off. I left alone the rubber parts. Alright. Alright, so an 8 millimeter, took this bolt off right here, flipped the thing around, put it back in. Make sure not to strip it out. It's pretty soft metal. Alright, so as you can see, I got a line right here I'm going to have to do something with because it's hitting. But I wanted to keep it fairly high. I'm going to have to undo that buckle right there. We'll see. So I got this off of eBay. It shipped from Hong Kong. I believe it was $59 plus like $1.40 to ship it. It's crazy. It's like half the price of the one on Amazon, but they're identical. The most important thing is obviously the 34 millimeter adapter. Alright, here's the fitment. What you're going to do is take one of these bolts and put it on this clamp right here. And you're going to want to feed it through the rubber grommets. Put a washer in there, tighten it down. Don't tighten it too much. Do the other side, try to get the lengths about the same. The top is hard to reach. You're just going to have to fiddle with that until you get it. And the length, it goes actually in this slot. There's like a lower frame back here. There's a lower frame back here and an upper frame, and I put it right between them. Fits perfect. Barely enough bolt. And obviously this is a vacuum system, but you're going to want the fittings at the top. So there's that. I haven't tightened it down yet. I'm going to wait to do that. Oh, and the cable placement here for the clutch lever. I just moved it to the side there. It's kind of resting on that, so it's not touching the exhaust. That's important. And that cable still is gonna touch the side of the radiator, so I might have to shorten that just a hair. Okay, at this time you're gonna want to rub a little bit of oil on the O-ring that came with this fitting, this adapter right here. You're gonna want to put it on the adapter and then very carefully thread it in. The oil filter does not go in there, so leave all this out. Just keep this in case of emergency. Alright. Here's the first real pain you're gonna have, getting this thing tight. The tool that it comes with only fits in there from about here to here, and then you flip it around and it hits back here. So I kind of used my needle nose in those two slots, rotated it as best I could, and then snugged it up with the tool. You're gonna have to keep an eye on this to make sure you have it tightened up that it's not leaking. All right. Okay, so I've started with these hoses now. I put one of the washers below it, one above it, the large bolt clean through, the longest hose farthest away, and the shortest hose here. Now you're going to have two short hoses. One of them is going to have this extension on it. That goes down to here. The other one gets bolted here. And I've seen in pictures that they tighten this stuff down and then they use this to fill the cooler with oil. And I believe it's half a quart, 125 milliliters. Since I can't really read it, I don't really know for sure. But I have read and watched some videos, and they said that it increases their oil to about a quart and a half. Now, the engine actually holds slightly over a quart. There's always some left over when you're draining. So I would say start filling the oil cooler, put a little less than a quart in the engine, run it for a while, let it cycle through, and then look at the window on the other side and add oil as needed, just to be safe. Another thing is, if you tuck it back here, you're going to have to put it in the orientation you want it to be in when it's done. So I tucked it behind the fender to protect it, and I put that one, obviously you can see that. So then I'm going to tighten this down, then I'm going to pull it out, fill it, and we'll see. Alright, when you're tightening these down with the 3/4 inch, you're going to be tightening it down with one hand. Use the other hand to brace this hose, because it's going to want to turn clockwise on you. This is all aluminum. Be very careful, or you're going to just split this and the whole thing's going to be totaled. So I made this hand tight. I'm going to run the bike after this is all done, see if there's any leaks, try to tighten it down a little bit more after that. Some people have had luck using thread lock. I'm not sure about how this is all set up yet, so I'm not going to thread lock anything just yet. Alright, when you're tightening down these 10s, your first instinct is going to be to really wrench on them. But remember, this frame's aluminum. I just held the back with my finger, and I have an extension. I put the extension on there, and I turned it till it was tight. This is something you definitely would want to thread lock when you're sure about the placement. Down here, socket won't fit on that, so I'm going to use my wrench. All right, they give you this 20 milliliter syringe to put in the end of that. So I'm going to use that 20 milliliters at a time till I get roughly half a quart, maybe a little bit less. So thinking back on it, I totally could have just left this part off, put the oil directly into the top of this. Would have been way faster. You can get this to go faster if you press hard so it doesn't leak out of that. Alright, so because it's a 125 milliliter oil cooler, I put 120 milliliters in. I figure I can always top off the motor later. So honestly, I don't know if this is right, looking at the instructions, but I'm just thinking, yeah, they don't show the filter. I'm just thinking that because of gravity, you would want the seal at the top of the container. So that's what I'm doing. And I actually used this tool, and I put it in one of the holes, and I braced it on the outside, and then I put a 13 millimeter and tightened it down. So now I'm gonna do the other side. And just to show you again, this is how the filter goes. You can see that filter right there. Goes like that. And then goes into there. Okay. Alright, so that's together. And don't forget to lubricate your O-ring on the inside of this before assembly. And now I'm ready to do that. Here's the tough thing is, I've seen lots of pictures and videos, but nobody says specifically which one of these lines goes where. One's in and one's out. So I'm guessing the oil comes into this line, circulates, and then comes out through this. But I don't know. Let's see what I decide to do. Well, my mind was kind of made up for me. The shorter hose just had enough length to hit the top. The longer one went to the bottom. So, I mean, we'll see if, you know, while I'm running it, if I can feel heat coming through this, then I know it's working. Yeah, I'll just keep an eye on it. I snug these up hand tight. These are actually 5/8. So, sorry I didn't catch that at the beginning of the video. Oh, and please, if somebody's done this before and they know that I missed something, please put it in the comments below to prevent other people from making a mistake. So, I made this tight, but it's not so tight that it couldn't move if something hit it, which I think might save it. All this is all tight. That's all tight. This is all tight. I'm going to go ahead and fill up the bike now.